Well, it's been a long time since I've done a build video. Been busy with teaching and being single dad and so forth. But here I am finally finished with my USS Constellation build that I've been working on and off for the last several months. Decided to spend these last few days of Christmas vacation before I go back to teaching next week getting this thing done. I may take it to my classroom. But I apologize for not documenting this build. I just decided one day a few months ago to just start mangling one of these 1350s that I had. And then I didn't bother to start documenting anything. So all I can show you is the result of all of this work and hope that you like it. So I'll talk a little bit about what I did to get these effects. To make these enormous holes into this really thick plastic of this kit, I just got a bunch of these circular drills for my Dremel equipment from China. Got a whole mess of them. Have them hanging here. Lots and lots. And those made really quick work of this thick plastic on this kit. And by just angling the blade, you can get these really wonderful different shapes and cutouts. That works a lot faster than trying to do it with a X-Acto knife. And notice the structure inside. I just picked up various tubing and rods, and I'm not sure what these were. I picked them up at the railroad hobby shop here in town, and they just make a nice structure inside so that you don't have to do a whole bunch of fabrication yourself. So I spent last night and today doing all the paint work on this for the damage, and I really like how this turned out. Notice how you can see the blue coming up through the styrene backing that I put beneath all this tubing to show the inner structure of the nacelle. Really like that effect. Wasn't expecting it to bleed through like it does, but when I saw it, I thought that's really nice. Now notice that, yes, I do have this nacelle still partially operating. I've got a blue flickering LED in there, giving that pulsing effect to it that it's about to die. And then some damage on the other one, but the other one is completely dead because the nacelle cap itself was damaged, the Bussard collector. I had debated having both of them flickering, but then I just decided, no, I'm going to cut the wiring in half and just leave it for one. And then you see that I put 3 flickering red LEDs inside this one to show that it is on the verge of complete power failure, if not explosion itself. And this is the one that will blow out, as you see in the original and remastered versions. You see I have a complete bridge painted and everything, and then I've got the turbolift doors open and a pulsating red LED in there, giving kind of a dying red alert effect. And you see I carved into the crystal cover as well as into the side of the A deck to show that the bridge is uninhabitable, just as it was described in the show. And notice the texture to the BC, A, B, and C decks here, just using the round sanding attachment to my Dremel and just carving into that and shredding away at that plastic to leave that very rough surface and to damage the windows. And an accidental thing that, as soon as I saw what had happened, I thought, well, that's just going to work nicely, is as I was working on doing all this work here, the end of my drill right here dug into the saucer, but created this nice divot. And I looked at it in the texture, and I thought, you know, that's where there's going to be maybe a meteorite strike or something, and I'll just go with that. And you can see inside the flickering red LED that bleeds up through the structure. And then let me show you, I'll turn off the light eventually too, but you can see that I've got a yellow and a red flickering LED inside the saucer. No other lighting, because the ship is almost dead, but the fires that are burning inside the ship, that will be visible. And then the planetary sensor below, the red will bleed down into it as well. I decided not to do any lighting in the secondary hull. I had this all wired and it was good, and this is my only disappointment now with this build, is that I decided to have the shuttle bay exposed, that it had blown open, and so I installed a flickering red SMD just behind the doors there up in the top that would have made the hangar deck illuminate with a red alert effect. And everything worked, and it worked, and it was great, and it was wonderful. And then as soon as I snapped the hull together with all the glue and everything and got it firmly in place, the light just died. So I don't know how, because I thought, the wires completely safe from anything. Somehow, I guess, maybe I snapped one of the wires in there as I sealed everything up, and I just did not have the heart to pull it all apart again and have to go with the angst of fixing all that. So I just decided to call it good and go without that effect. Now here's a little addition I did today to the secondary hull, as I found a piece of styrene scrap and kind of mangled it some more, and then painted and glued it in place so that it looks like part of the hull is still intact on that one rib. And I like that look instead of just a big old hole. But see that I twisted it and contorted it so that it sticks out. Really like that. And then I really love the effect, again, taking the circular blades and just tearing into that deflector dish and just mangling it a little bit. And the effect is just really, really nice. And then with the damage also coming back to the rims there, and then continuing with the paint job to show the impact of all that. Now another thing I did, which is not standard, but I had the decals left over from one of my son's builds, is I decided to do this down below. Now it looks like one of them, I'm going to have to redo that. Somehow the decal slipped. I haven't sealed everything yet, so I'll rewater that and put it back into place. But that's how I achieved all this, is just those circular blades and just tearing into this plastic and then using them at different angles to create this shattered effect. And then by painting it, I knew the painting would look good, but I didn't expect it to really pop out like it did. Really, really like the look of that. So now I just need to fix that one decal on the underside under the hanger, and then I'll spray this all down with dull coat to seal everything. But let me now show you what the Constellation looks like with the lights down. So I'll go up here and turn this overhead off. Really like that effect. See that pulsing red SMD in there, just power slowly dying out. And the fire is burning in the saucer, and the nacelle heading toward its final explosion. And then no lighting in these back areas. You can see the impulse lights kind of bleeding through a little bit there. I decided to just leave that. That's fine to me. But God, I wanted that hangar deck to be blinking red too. But then I like also how the warp grill just fades away toward the end here by just putting that flickering blue up front to show that the nacelle is on its last legs, and the other one seemingly in better shape but completely dead because of the fracturing of the Bussard collector. So there's my Constellation. About 6+ months of on and off work. All of this major, really cool look to it achieved in the last 3 days, since I'll be heading back to work soon. So now let me back off a little bit further, and I'll kill this overhead light and show you what she looks like in the dark. Really like how those fires are coming through. Can't see it that well on the camera here. It seems all flooded out, but in person that secondary hull is just lighting up and looks like it's on fire. Yeah, very happy with that. Let me go flip this back on. So the Constellation. Hope you like it. Thanks.